Hi guys, welcome back to Cup of Teach, and today we're going to discuss simplifying expressions with rational exponents. Let's have here an expressions with rational exponent like a raised to 1 over k can be simplified by transforming to radical form. So that is the k root of a, wherein a is the radical symbol, and k is the index. So mapapansin nyo, yung base dito, naging radicand na siya. Yung k na denominator, that is the index. Yung 1, that is the numerator, magiging exponent na siya ng radicand. Automatically, meron tayong 1 dito. That is invisible. So, in simplifying rational exponent, we need to use the laws of exponents. The first one is the product rule. In the product rule, if a raised to m times a raised to n is equal to a raised to m plus n. So, mapapansin nyo, same ang base natin, kinapi lang. And then, you're going to add the exponents. For example, 9 raised to 1/4 times 9 raised to 1/4. Same base, which is 9, so you just copy it and add the exponents. So, that is equal to 9 raised to 1/4 plus 1/4. Then, after that, we're going to simplify the exponents. That is equal to 9 raised to 1 plus 1 over 4. So, in adding fraction, always remember, if they have the same denominator, you just copy the denominator and then add the numerators. That is why we have here 1 plus 1 over 4. Simplify, that is equal to 9 raised to 2 over 4. So, pwede pa nating isimplify ang 2 over 4 and that is equal to 9 raised to 1/2. Naka-exponent tayo ng rational or ang ating exponent is fraction. Therefore, we need to transform that into radical form para masimplify. So that is the square root of 9. 9 is perfect square. Therefore, we can get the square root of 9 and that is equal to 3. Next, 27 raised to 1 over 6 times 27 raised to 1 over 6. 27, same base, you just copy it. Add the exponents. So we will have now 27 raised to 1 over 6 plus 1 over 6. Simplify natin ang exponents. So that is equal to 27 raised to 1 plus 1 over 6. Just copy the common denominator, which is 6, and then add the numerators. So 1 plus 1. So that is equal to 27 raised to 2 over 6. 2 over 6, pwede pa nating isimplify. That is equal to 27 raised to 1/3. Then, ang exponent natin, rational or fraction, we need to transform that into radical form para masimplify. So, that is equal to the cube root of 27. 27 is perfect cube. Therefore, pwede natin kuhanin ang cube root ng 27 and that is equal to 3. Next is the quotient rule. In the quotient rule, if a raised to m over a raised to n, same base, you just copy. This time, we're going to subtract the exponents. That is m minus n. For example, 64 raised to 3 over 4 over 64 raised to 1/4. Same base, which is 64. So, you just copy 64 and then you have to subtract the exponents. So, that is equal to 64 raised to 3/4 minus 1/4. Then, simplify natin ang exponent. So, you just copy 64 and then we will have now 3 minus 1 over 4. So, same pa rin sa addition of fraction. So, dito naman magsusubtract tayo ng fraction. Same or common denominator, which is 4, and then subtract the numerators, that is 3 minus 1. So, that is equal to 64 raised to 2 over 4. Ang 2 over 4, pwede pa natin i-simplify. So, that is equal to 64 raised to 1/2. Fraction na exponent or rational. So, we can change that into radical form para ma-simplify natin. So that is the square root of 64. Ang 64 ay perfect square. Therefore, pwede natin kuhanin ang square root ng 64 and that is equal to 8. Next is 8 raised to 2 over 3 over 8 raised to 1/3. Same base, which is 8. You just copy, subtract the exponent. So we will have now 8 raised to 2/3 minus 1/3. Then simplify ang exponent. So we'll have now 8 raised to 2 minus 1 over 3. Common denominator, which is 3. Then subtract the numerators, that is 2 minus 1. Simplify, 8 raised to 1 over 3. Exponent natin, fraction or rational, change to radical form. So that is the cube root of 8. So this is perfect cube. Therefore, that is equal to 2. Number 3 is raising a power to a power rule. The quantity a raised to m, quantity raised to n is equal to a raised to m times n. So sa case na to, ang exponent natin outside the parentheses will multiply to the exponent inside the parentheses. That is why we have here a raised to m times n. Let's have an example. Quantity 7 raised to 1/3 quantity cube. So meron tayong exponent outside the parentheses. We're going to multiply that inside the exponent. So that is 7 raised to 3 over 3. So pwede pa nating isimplify ito. So that is 7 raised to 1. And 7 raised to 1 is equal to 7. Another example. Quantity 27 raised to 1/3 quantity squared. So meron tayo ulit exponent outside the parentheses. Let us multiply that to the exponent inside the parentheses. So that is equal to 27 raised to 2/3. And then yung 2/3 natin, that is fraction. We have to transform that into radical form. So magiging quantity cube root of 27 quantity squared. So simplify muna natin yung nasa loob ng open and close parentheses. Yung cube root ng 27. Ang cube root ng 27 is 3. So copy lang natin yung naiwan na squared. And then pwede na natin itong isimplify. That is equal to 9. Another example, quantity 4 times 16 quantity raised to 1/2. So sa case na to, yung exponent natin outside the parentheses, we're going to distribute that inside the parentheses. Kasi diba, automatically we have here 1 as the exponent of the two numbers. So, magkakaroon na tayo ng 4 raised to 1/2 times 16 raised to 1/2. And then, pwede natin itong isimplify or change that into radical form. So, that is the square root of 4 times the square root of 16. So, yung square root of 4, perfect square ang 4. So, pwede natin kuhanin ang square root ng 4 exactly. That is 2. And then, yung square root ng 16, that is 4. Then, this time, we're going to multiply the 2. So, the answer is 8. Next is the quantity of 8 over 125, quantity raised to 1/3. So, yung exponent natin outside the parentheses, we're going to distribute it to the numerator and to the denominator. So, we will have now 8 raised to 1/3 over 125 raised to 1/3. And then, to simplify this, yung 8 raised to 1/3, kailangan natin siyang i-transform into radical form. Same din sa denominator. So, we will have now the cube root of 8 over the cube root of 125. So, yung 8 is perfect cube at saka yung 125 perfect cube din. Therefore, that is 2 over 5. Next is the quantity of 9 over 81, quantity raised to 1/2. So, yung exponent outside the parentheses, distribute to numerator and to the denominator. So, that is 9 raised to 1/2 over 81 raised to 1/2. Then, change that to radical form. So, that is the square root of 9 over the square root of 81. The square root of 9 is 3. And the square root of 81 is 9. So, pwede pa nating isimplify ang 3 over 9 and that is 1/3. Let's have here the zero exponent. A raised to 0 is equal to 1. If A is a non-zero number, for example, quantity of 7 raised to 1/3 quantity raised to 0, automatically that is equal to 1. Any expressions raised to 0, the answer is 1. Next is negative exponent. For example, 9 raised to negative 1/4 times 9 raised to negative 1/4, same ang base natin. We just copy, then add the exponents. So that is equal to 9 raised to negative 1/4 plus negative 1/4. That is equal to 9 raised to negative 1 plus negative 1 over 4. Yung 4, that is common denominator. And then add lang natin ang numerators. That is why we have here negative 1 plus negative 1. That is equal to 9 raised to negative 2 over 4. Yung negative 2 over 4, pwede pang isimplify. That is equal to 9 raised to negative 1/2. Since ang exponent natin dito ay naka-negative, kailangan natin kuhanin ang reciprocal para maging positive ang ating exponent. So that is equal to 1 over 9 raised to 1/2. Then this time, para ma-simplify natin ang 9 raised to 1/2, kailangan nating i-change into radical form. And that is equal to 1 over the square root of 9. Then square root of 9 is 3. The final answer is 1 over 3. Next is the quantity of 8 raised to negative 1/3 quantity squared. So, meron tayong exponent outside the parentheses. Kailangan natin siyang i-multiply to the exponent inside the parentheses. So, we will have now 8 raised to negative 2 over 3. So, since ang exponent natin ay naka-negative, kailangan natin kuhanin ang reciprocal para maging positive. So, that is equal to 1 over 8 raised to 2 over 3. Then, this time, kailangan na natin siyang i-change into radical form para ma-simplify yung denominator natin. So, that is equal to 1 over the cube root of 8, then squared. Then, cube root of 8 is perfect cube. So, pwede natin kuhanin ang exact answer, and that is equal to 2. So, therefore, that is equal to 1 over 2 squared. And 2 squared is 4. Final answer, 1 over 4.
Thank you for watching. That's it for this video. If you learned something here, don't forget to like and subscribe to Cup of Teach. See you on the next lesson. Bye!